If you want to know how to grow your wealth faster without having to earn another dollar or cut back on spending another dollar, stick with me. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can grow your wealth to hundreds and thousands of dollars without changing anything except for this one thing. If you're here right now, you probably earn a good income and you've been doing a lot of things right. In fact, you've probably started investing because you know that it's not about saving that will really grow your wealth, but it is investing. But here's something that you might not know that could actually improve the amount of wealth that you can grow over an investing horizon. And that is this fee, typically called an MER or management expense ratio. This fee is charged on your investments, whether they go up, whether they're flat, and even when they go down. Now, you might have heard from some other people that what you really need to do is to cut back. Basically, don't get that avocado toast. Don't get that latte that you really want. Maybe even cut back on doing your nails or getting that subscription to your favorite streaming platform. But those are really $10 problems. And instead of looking at $10 problems, I want you to look at a number that is sometimes small that will have an even bigger impact on the amount of wealth that you can grow. Let's say you have $200,000 to invest over a 30-year period at a normal or average investing rate of about 7%. That $200,000 over that 30-year horizon could grow to be 1.5 million. But if that's invested with a bank, and a bank who has their own mutual funds, who has their own products, usually they can charge you around 1.5 to 2%, or let's just say 1.75%. Looking at that bank charging you 1.57% for managing that money, you will actually fall short of 1.5 million and instead only have about $928,000. That's a difference of $594,000, almost $600,000 based on that little number, 1.75%. So let me tell you a little bit of a story. I had secured a new job that was going to pay me a bigger income, and I needed to move my pension from my old employer as well as my RSPs into another vehicle because I couldn't keep them with my old employer. So I looked around and I found a financial advisor, someone I thought I could trust, someone who was with one of the big banks, and advised me to invest with her. And the fee she was charging was 1.75%. So I moved my portfolio over to her, and basically through her, as well as the investing arm of the bank, they began investing my money. Now, as I kept seeing the quarterly statements, I would see that my net amount wasn't really growing as fast as I thought it should, given the returns I was receiving. So yes, your investments grow, but that fee that's being charged actually acts as an anchor, reducing the amount that you can ultimately earn. Now, seeing that, I wanted to make a change. My objective was to grow my wealth as fast as I could so that I can have a lot more options. So I then moved to a Robo-Advisor. I decided to, yes, be kind to myself and not nice to that advisor, and actually sign the documentation to port my investments to a Robo-Advisor. Now, there's lots of robo-advisors out there. At the time, I chose one where they cap the amount of fees that they charge. So they might start off as a percentage, but the amount they would charge in any 1 year, given the size of my portfolio, would actually be maxed out. And that really worked for me because, to be honest, the larger your portfolio grows, it doesn't actually take any more work on picking that investment. So moving to that new advisor that was a robo-advisor, I was saving 1%. So instead of 1.75%, I was paying 0.75% on my investment portfolio. That meant, again, over the course of 30 years with a $200,000 portfolio, I would actually be growing that portfolio to 1.23 million net of the fees of 0.75%. So essentially, that 1% difference over a 30-year time frame meant that I was saving nearly $300,000. A small change makes a huge change on how much wealth you can. After staying with that Robo-Advisor for a while, I actually began to teach this to a lot of my clients. We would go through the details of what they were invested in and move accordingly to similar assets that had a lower fee. One of the clients that I work with, she was very, very ecstatic and sent me a note basically saying that with her fees lower, she was so happy that a lot more of the money was ending up in her pocket rather than the bank's. Over the years, I've now moved to being a self-directed investor. So that means that I actually pick the investments. And I don't do anything fancy. I continue to pick low-cost ETFs in order to manage my money based on my risk tolerance, based on my time horizon, and based on my asset allocation. That means now instead of paying 1.75 with the bank, even 0.75 with a robo-advisor, I am now south of 0.15%, which really means more is returning to my pocket. Using that $200,000 example over a 30-year horizon, as well as a 7% return, that means that maximum of 1.5 million, 1.46 million ends up in my hands, which means I'm paying less than $63,000 worth of fees. So from $600,000 to $63,000, that small difference makes a huge impact on how much wealth you can accumulate in your future. It's always good to start somewhere. Take a look and see how much you're paying in fees and seeing if there's a way that you can minimize that. First, by moving to a robo-advisor, then with more confidence and more knowledge and more experience, and frankly, more time, moving it to being self-directed. That can mean the difference of $500,000 in your portfolio. You could probably potentially save way more, maybe even 7 figures. The point is to have a look and to start. And if you want to start today, have a look at my free investment calculator, and the link is in the description. With that, you can calculate how much you are paying today and how much of your portfolio is possibly going to fees. Now, I want you to have that money in your pocket. And if you want more of this, the emotional and the math when it comes to your money and building wealth, have a look at my TFSA guide. It breaks down the 7 mistakes that first-generation professionals make when investing in their TFSA. That link is also in the description. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next video.